Hark the bardic paladin, who sings and plays again. He tells the tales of glory, and weaves a magic story. He'll join you at your table, and ask you to share a fable. Heroes of humble origin, villains who must be fought again. No matter their skill or prowess, the people in life are countless. So we pray you heed our request. Enjoy this tale of sidekicks and side quests.
Episode 7. The Cordam, the Caesura, and the Canticuum. Welcome to Sidekicks and Side Quests, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast that helps to put humans back into humanity and breathe life into your campaign NPCs with backstory and bravado. That's right, we're building a world, one character at a time. I'm your host, Kurt Krenwelge, the Bardic Paladin, and welcome to the Levitating Platter. Hi everyone, so this is the first installment, I suppose, of the in-between weeks content. Currently, at the time of this recording, everyone's shut indoors due to the COVID-19 coronavirus going around, and I wanted to make an effort to ensure that there was content out there for you, the listeners, to be able to have during the in-between weeks that we don't have guest interviews going up. And I went to Twitter and Reddit and Facebook, where we are social media-wise, and I asked what they would like to hear. And based on the one vote, it looks like the homebrew lore / NPC won out. And so I decided that I would delve a little bit deeper into the foundational history of my homebrew universe, Harmony. So, to preface this, I do want to say that I have not read the Silmarillion. I am very much a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien and his works, but I haven't read everything that he's written or that has been compiled posthumously after his passing. So when I share this world history of my homebrew universe, it might sound very familiar with the material of Mr. Tolkien, but I assure you that this was all created before having heard secondhand from my friend Caitlin and her podcast, Tea with Tolkien, that delved much deeper into the foundational history of the Middle-earth universe. I definitely will also say that perhaps Tolkien is a major influence for my homebrew world, but also music is very much a part of my life, having become a member of a music fraternity in college. So, keeping all that in mind, this is where the story begins with Harmony. The Cordam. It is hard to say when the exact moment was, but suddenly from the darkness and chaos, the Cordam was sounded by the Sautor, and gave rise to time, space, and presence. The Sautor weaved together Canticuum, the song of creation, and thus the begotten formed in the song of creation, and thus harmony was achieved. The love of the Sautor for the begotten, and the love of the begotten for the Sautor is what brought rise to harmony, which took shape to affect time, space, and presence to create the Cantu, the different planes of existence. The begotten then began to add to the song of creation and gave rise to the various elements and creatures and became what mortal beings would call gods and goddesses. They all lived within the Sautor, occupying different facets and areas, such as the human deities tending to the Garden of Serenity. It was when the Caesura occurred that for the sake of the Sautor and the gods still loyal to the Canticuum, that he formed Cordam for them to live in, while the Sautor banished the dissonant to the other realms or sealed them away. So kind of right there, I'm very much a Christian, so there is a bit of Christianity that does play into my creation, such as, let there be light, and boom, there was light, kind of, that there was a chord, there was a chord of music that was struck from the Sator, and out of darkness and chaos came creation in the world. The song of creation, the Canticuum, is the living and breathing and being that exists in my world, in my game. I think on another episode, if you want me to dive more into this, I described the Sator and his relationship with the begotten of his creation, kind of like think of the Sator like an orchestra conductor, and then all the gods and goddesses are like the players in an orchestra, and then finally all of creation is the music that you hear, the notes on the pages, the articulations, the expressions, the variances. That is kind of how an analogy would work for my game universe. So the Cordam is the inciting incident that, boom, created the world. The Caesura. In their zeal to add to the Canticuum, some of the begotten began to listen to the whispers of darkness and chaos for inspiration instead of the Sator. They became the dissonant. When their turn came to augment the Canticuum, their turbulent music caused harmony to warp and fragment and break with reality. The Sator could see now that some of his begotten were tainted by their free will to accept darkness and chaos as their source of inspiration. In his perfect love and justice for the sake of Canticuum and harmony, he banished them from his sight and bound them to the contours of their making, forbidden from ever ascending to Cordam and participating in the Canticuum again. For now, death, destruction, disease, greed, and all the other evils now entered the Canticuum and could not be undone. Caesura, the break, occurred across the contours of the Canticuum, triggering a catastrophic event that drastically altered those worlds forever. The begotten returned to Cordam to rejoin the Sator to play the song of creation. However, the Sator can weave the song to endure and bring about concordia, the resolution of the song of creation and the fulfillment of all life. So again, you can see, the Tolkien and the Christian inspiration with free will entering into the equation and free will being used to choose evil, thus allowing evil to enter into the world, into the song of creation. And this is my explanation for the rise of the gods and goddesses that chose evil. I do know that I was influenced by the Dawn War Pantheon from the 4th edition, and I took a great amount of time coming up with my own gods and goddesses that I could use in my setting. And so hopefully this is making sense. Definitely feel free to send me an email or tweet at me or send me a Facebook post or make a post on Reddit if you kind of want more explanation. Certainly, a dungeon master can never reveal all of his tips and tricks or let you peek behind the curtain entirely, because that would ruin the fun, especially if you want to play in my game in my homeworld setting. I mean, unless I go through the effort to try and publish my own setting, though I don't know who necessarily would be interested in that. But kind of to help fill out this lore episode, I will present to you the Cantu hierarchy, aka harmony, going from highest to lowest as far as in their ordering in their place. I like to think of the Cantus as actually different score systems on sheet music. So when you look at sheet music, there's different groupings in an orchestra for which instruments are on what line and what you follow. Obviously, the players might have their own individual music that they're following, but the conductor, aka the Sator, he has the orchestral score. And so, of course, on an orchestral score, me having a music background, and for any of you having a music background, you know that when the director, the conductor, the choir master, if they're looking at the master orchestral score, it's a very big piece of music that they have to constantly flip through. And the conductor is constantly cueing different sections and getting them ready to their entrances and allowing certain themes to come out and silencing others. So, with harmony, with the idea that the Sator, the one true God who created everything, is kind of like the conductor of the orchestra. So the other small god and goddesses, those are like the players. And then the dissonant are those who decided to just start playing their own music, like free-form jazz in the middle of a Brahms symphony. And so the Sator, as the conductor, kind of sealed them away, locked them apart from the other gods and goddesses so that the overall song wouldn't be distorted and destroyed, as he's working towards Concordia, which is like, the finale of a great piece. So yeah, hopefully that's all making sense. And again, so back to the point of cantus, think of like them as different systems on orchestral score. And so each one can have effect with the others as they kind of blend and weave in together. So the Sator, of course, is the highest in the hierarchy, for he exists outside of time and space and presence, darkness, and chaos. He's just the one true God. He's just, God. Then the next realm below that is Coram. We're then followed by Anima, the realm of saints. Then we have Kale, the heir of harmony, aka my version of the astral sea. Then we have Lamentum, the silent wailing, aka the far realm. This is obviously a region that's been corrupted. It's beyond the edges of Kale, sealed off from the rest of harmony. Then we have Aura, which is the element of air. Unda, the element of water. Ignis, element of fire. Humus, element of earth. Fei, the Feywild, my version of the Feywild. Phasma, the ethereal plane, which serves as the conduit of purgatory to Anima. Vita is the mortal world, the material plane. Then we have Umbra, the Shadowfell, my version of the Shadowfell. This is the place of judgment for souls. And then I just went straight to Dante, and I did the circles of hell. So I have the Limbo, the first circle, Scorazio, the second circle, Gula, the third circle, Avaritza, the fourth, Uru, the fifth, Heresis, the sixth, Impetus, the seventh, Dolo, the eighth, and Predizione, the ninth circle. And then finally at the bottom of the hierarchy is the Black Pit, which is just my version of the Abyss. So there you go. That's kind of like a background, big picture breakdown of how my homebrew game works. So if you're interested in hearing more about my personal homebrew nonsense, be sure to let me know on social media, so that way I can maybe better organize my notes or prepare certain items to share on an in-between week episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sidekicks and Side Quests. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast through Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Overcast, or feel free to save the RSS feed to use the app of your choice. Visit our website, www.sidekicksandsidequests.com, for links, write-ups of the NPCs, and to learn more about the podcast. To stay up to date and share your fan creations, you can like and follow the podcast on social media by searching for @SideKQ Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. The podcast is also on Reddit, so join our subreddit community at r/SideKQ Podcast to share your art, stories, discussions, and commentary. If you'd like to hail the bard, send an email to sidekicksandsidequests, all one word, @gmail.com. I ask that you please leave an honest review on iTunes to help spread the word about the show. Sidekicks and Side Quests is unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy, meaning I'm not approved or endorsed by Wizards. Portions of the materials used are property of Wizards of the Coast. Copyright Wizards of the Coast, LLC. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you at the pub next time.
Bar to rock on 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.